We have a huge update from the Athletic Shams Charania that places the Lakers as frontrunners to sign a big 7-footer to help with the Lakers' big man depth. But with the Lakers already having 15 roster spots, that means they would either have to cut or trade somebody for the Lakers to add center Christian Koloko. What's good? I'm Okechi Apakama, and this is Lakers Digest coming at you with another video. And before we get into everything we have for you for today's video, guys, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already to get those Laker updates, especially with training camp just coming up here in the next few weeks. Now, let's hop straight into our big story of today, as the Lakers are the front runners for Christian Koloko. So, it's been well documented that the Lakers haven't made any moves here in this offseason with the exception of bringing on their rookies, both Dalton Connect and LeBron James, and then also their two-way guys. But due to the recent injuries with Christian Wood, who recently just had surgery, and Jared Vanderbilt, who might not be ready for the season to start, the Lakers have been in the market for a big man. And Shams Charania recently tweeted out this huge update that 7-footer Christian Koloko is finalizing a return to the NBA, and the Los Angeles Lakers are among the frontrunners to sign him among the Raptors, Clippers, and Spurs. Sources tell the Athletic. Koloko is awaiting clearance to play from NBA Fitness Panel. However, he is eligible to sign now. So this is definitely big news for the Los Angeles Lakers, as Christian Koloko, many might not know about him because he is a guy who played with the Toronto Raptors, and he only played his rookie season, where he did show some moments and some spurts of he can be a solid NBA player, but he had to sit out his second season due to blood clots in his lungs. Now, it looks like he is getting past that. He had surgery to help correct that, and he's been working these past 4 to 5 months to really get ready and get back into NBA shape. And the Lakers, who are looking for a big man due to the recent injuries they had, could be in the market for a guy like Christian Koloko. So, Christian Koloko, let's just take a closer look of what Shams also said. So he said, sources said the Lakers are in need of front court help and are leaders to sign Koloko. The 22-year-old former Raptors second-round pick has been deciding among multiple teams and is now finalizing a commitment on a deal to make an NBA return. So, I brought it up earlier in the top of the video that the Lakers would have to clear some roster space to possibly bring in Christian Koloko, because they have the 15 guaranteed roster spots currently right now. So it's a bit unclear of like what type of deal the Lakers are looking to sign him for. Is it an Exhibit 10 contract, which would be more of a training camp deal and see if he can make the squad and possibly be on the G League team, or would they be looking to try to get him a guaranteed contract? So if that were to happen, then the Lakers would have to do some other things for that to really transpire. But first, let's take a look at some of the numbers for Christian Koloko and like what he can possibly bring to this Lakers squad. And Christian, he was a guy that some people among the community liked, and then he's also a guy who can be considered two-way eligible, which is very important because when you're in that first 4 years of the NBA, I believe you can be considered two-way eligible, and all the two-way spots are currently taken up, but it isn't far from the Lakers to really remove one of the two-way guys, especially if they're not playing well, say, in training camp. So they have currently Blank Hinson, Frenchman Armand Tomel, and then Colin Castleton, who was also on the Lakers two-way contract last year. So those are all the guys currently holding a two-way spot, and we'll see if Koloko can outperform them here in training camp if he gets that training camp deal. And then so, like I said, take a look at his stats here. So he didn't have stats for last season due to having the blood clotting in his lungs. So those are his rookie stats. He's played about 58 games for the Toronto Raptors. Actually started 19 of them for them, but he just averaged just about 3 points per game, about 2.9 rebounds per game. But the big important number here is that one block shots per game to go along with 0.4 steals. This guy is a physical specimen and can be a very good defender on that side of the ball due to his athleticism and his high motor. So those are very good things working for a guy like Koloko, and then a team for the Los Angeles Lakers who can use a big man with a very high motor like Koloko. So his stats don't tell too much of a story there just because he didn't play too much for the Toronto Raptors, but he did show some promise there in his rookie season. And then hopefully with him getting past the blood clots and then him working on his game, hopefully some things were fine-tuned and got a little bit better, because he was a guy that was mostly just a lob threat, a rim runner, and a guy that was going to hustle up and down the floor, but he was taking some three-pointers there. Let's take a look at some of those per 36-minute stats, because I think those can be a very good indicator of what type of player a player can be if they got the minutes. And he's a guy that does what a backup center could possibly do, averaging about around 8 points per game to go along with 7 rebounds per game. And that big number right there, like I said, the block shots, 2.6 per game, and then even the steals, 0.9 per game if he was in those per 36-minute averages for himself. And then he will get most of his shots at the rim, but he did take just about over a three, just under a 3 a game. So if he can get those 3-point shots up and expand his game, then he can be a person who can be very viable for the Lakers, not only as a guy that can be a rim runner and a lob threat, but can be a guy that can space out to the 3 and alleviate some things for the Los Angeles Lakers, especially at that big man position, because a guy like who they already have on the roster, Jackson Hayes, who, while he does some good things for the Lakers, he's a very good lob threat, probably one of the best in the league, and he's also very good at dribble handoffs and different things of that nature out of the 5 out, but he is not much of a shooter in that respect, and he probably won't ever be much of a shooter, especially right now for the Los Angeles Lakers, just because of the role that he's playing. And then Christian Wood was also looked at to be that big man, to be that spacer, but it looks like he's not going to be playing those first couple of weeks there. So this leads me to my next point here for Christian Koloko, and that is whose roster spot does he take? And this is a very important question if you're a Los Angeles Lakers fan, because with the Lakers already having 15 guaranteed roster spots, a lot of people were just thinking, oh, just cut one of the guys, maybe like a Cam Reddish or maybe like a Christian Wood, and then add him to the roster. But it's not that simple for the Los Angeles Lakers, as they are just about $100,000 under the second apron there. And then if they were to add another contract on top of that, because when you cut somebody, it doesn't take away from your salary. They're still on your salary cap. They're just not on your team. But if they were to do that, they would be in the second apron, and that is something that the Lakers do not want to do, because it really limits your flexibility when it comes to trades or adding players on your team or just doing things of that nature, and it really restricts you from a team building standpoint. So I know the Lakers wouldn't want to get into that second apron territory, so it would be more likely that the Lakers would trade somebody rather than cut a player. So he is two-way eligible, so there is a possibility, so he could take a two-way spot, maybe from either an Armel Tomel or a Colin Castleton. But both of those guys, Tomel played last season in the French league for the and he's coming into his rookie season, but he's also another one of those high motor guys, and similar to that Koloko, not as big obviously, but he can really get out there and defend. And so is he much better than Koloko? I'm not too sure at this point, but Koloko did play in the NBA that first season and did put up some numbers for the Raptors, albeit for not a great team. And then Colin Castleton, another guy who can take a two-way spot from. He did show some promise for the Lakers at some points because he has some very nice offensive feel to the game, a pretty good passer, and can put a hook shot up with both hands, but he's still razor thin, and he still needs to bulk up and get bigger to be a more viable center threat. So those, I think, will be the more likely situations, him taking up a two-way rather than him taking up one of those regular roster spots, only because he hasn't been more proven than some of the guys the Lakers already have on their roster, i.e. Jackson Hayes and then Christian Wood. So I can see him more likely taking a two-way spot rather than a regular spot for the Lakers, or this could be something down the line that the Lakers have a trade lined up and just hasn't been announced, and then they're trading out 2 for 1, and then that in turn opens up a roster spot for Christian, and then they're able just to sign him outright to the probably veterans minimum because he did not play the season prior. But for Los Angeles Lakers, this would be a solid get, I think, if they're able to get him for almost nothing, and if they're possibly taking up one of those two-way spots, because then you don't have the pressure for him to really be a guy to perform right away in the NBA. And then say if he does need some work, then you have that G League down there where he can grow, develop, get a little better. And then he was a second-round pick in the early second round, so he can be a guy who can be a very viable guy for you down the road. And he also started playing basketball fairly recently, because he started, I want to say, 15 or 16 years old. So he's still learning the game and getting better and growing as a player. So there's still some things to fine-tune on that end, but this is just good to see that Rob Pelinka is still looking for that big man help that Anthony Davis has been asking for quite some time. And even Laker fans have been asking for, mostly because they haven't really had a very solid backup big since Wenyen Gabriel, and even he had some shortcomings due to him being a little bit undersized at that position. But that's probably going to be it for this video. Let us know what you guys think in the comments down below of a Christian Koloko. Do you think he can be a guy that can really add to this Lakers squad and be a guy that can get some real minutes if he shows that he can play in the NBA and play at a high level? Or do you think this is just more of a thing that the Lakers are kind of like testing out, so he's more of an exhibition 10 guy and see if he can make the Lakers regular squad, but more likely be a G League project? Just let us know in the comments down below. And then also one more thing, guys, there is about 80% of you guys who are not subscribed to the channel just yet. And if you guys want more of that Laker news, Laker updates, especially with training camp just around the corner, you guys want to make sure you guys are subscribed to Lakers Digest. That's gonna be it for this one. I have been your host, Okechi Apakama, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.